Welcome to the Laguna Beach Unified School District. We appreciate your time and effort in helping to make LBUSD the best educational environment for all schools. We want to provide you with important information that will make your volunteer service successful and rewarding. There are two types of volunteers. The first type is a Tier 1 volunteer. Tier 1 volunteers spend fewer than 5 hours per week volunteering and work under the supervision of credentialed staff members. Tier 1 volunteers include classroom volunteers or volunteers at special school events where teachers and/or administrators are present. The second type is a Tier 2 volunteer. Tier 2 volunteers spend more than 5 hours per week volunteering or interact with students without direct supervision by credentialed staff members. Tier 2 volunteers include chaperones on overnight field trips, volunteers who transport students, or student mentors. The law requires that the district screen visitors and volunteers for the safety of students. Tier 1 volunteers will scan their driver's license into the visitor management system upon entry to the school. The volunteer's information is checked against the California Sex Offender Registry database established by Megan's Law to verify the volunteer is not listed in the database. The Tier 1 volunteer will need to register with the front office upon each visit. Because Tier 2 volunteers may interact with students without direct staff supervision, the law requires additional screening. The process used to screen Tier 2 volunteers is similar to the process used to screen our teachers and staff. Tier 2 volunteers require live scan fingerprinting for clearance through the FBI and Department of Justice databases. While the process is more involved for Tier 2 volunteers than for Tier 1, Tier 2 volunteers are cleared for any volunteer activity in Laguna Beach Unified School District and do not need to complete the process again. If you are uncertain whether or not you will need Tier 1 or Tier 2 clearance, please contact your child's school site for details. By volunteering in the Laguna Beach Unified School District, you agree to follow district policies and procedures, including those related to appropriate behavior and conduct, to ensure that the learning environment is not compromised. Volunteers should also become familiar with the specific rules at the sites at which they volunteer. Volunteers are often asked to commit to a specific time or day, as teachers need to know they can count on you. If you are unable to volunteer on a given day, or if you will arrive late, please contact your site to let them know. When working with students, use a positive and supportive approach. Encourage positive behavior by reinforcing students who are demonstrating the desired behavior. If you have difficulty with managing behavior of an individual or group of students, please seek assistance from the classroom teacher. District staff and volunteers are committed to student confidentiality. It is essential that you do not share any confidential information about students, even with your own family, friends, or acquaintances. Disclosure of confidential information could lead to a dismissal of a volunteer. The Laguna Beach Unified School District provides equal opportunities for volunteers, regardless of age, sex, color, race, creed, national origin, religious persuasion, marital status, political belief, or a disability that does not prohibit the performance of essential volunteer functions. All decisions that relate to volunteering are based upon ability to perform the job, as well as dependability and reliability. Volunteers should report to the school administrator if they have any reason to believe a student has been abused or neglected. The staff appreciates volunteers helping teachers prepare classroom materials. Volunteers should be trained on the correct usage of all office equipment. District equipment is only to be used for educational and school purposes. They are not for personal use. All volunteers shall adhere to the provisions of the federal copyright law and maintain the highest ethical standards in using copyright materials. Drivers should take great care in school parking lots and watch closely for students and others at all times. You should also check with the school office for information on where you should park. Cell phones are to be placed in vibrate or silent mode during your volunteer time. Personal phone calls should be made off campus to avoid disruptions. Volunteers are not permitted to photograph or video record students unless indicated by site personnel. As a general rule, younger siblings should not accompany parent volunteers to school when they are volunteering. Younger siblings can be a distraction to students, staff, and parent volunteers in the classroom. Additionally, younger siblings need to be supervised carefully for their own safety in the school environment. The staff lounge generally should not be used as a workroom. Cutting, pasting, collating, etc. should be done in the classrooms, teacher workrooms, or the office workrooms. Teachers should not send volunteers to work in the lounge. No item purchased or supplied by the district should ever be removed from school sites without the express authorization of the site administrator. It is highly recommended that volunteers not bring excessive amounts of money or valuables on campus. If you carry a purse, ask to place it in a secure location. The district is not responsible for lost or stolen personal items. If for any reason you decide not to continue as a volunteer with the district, please inform your site administrator and those you work with directly. The district reserves the right to discontinue the volunteer services of any individual. We hope that these guidelines are helpful to you in your volunteer service with the district. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to your school site. We are so very appreciative of your willingness to serve as a volunteer in our district. Thank you.